Did it work there? Oh yeah, I have to turn this off. Then it'll work. There. Let me double check it. So this is what us right here live right now. And then this should be previewing. And that preview is right there. We're gonna go.
I see.
Okay. Awesome. Welcome to Mad Pod episode 8. This is your boy D Exclusive with dxworldmedia.com, where dreams choose you. We're on a special podcast today. I got a guest star. Isabel's here with us today.
Hello.
We're going to talk about relationships as always. And I have a very interesting one. Just start with the story of how I found out about it. So I met someone at work. This is an older gentleman. And he gave me a thought to think about. And this is the thought. Relationships may or may not be a relationship with yourself and your ideal self and your partner and their ideal self. And if you accept and embrace this idea, you might be able to have a longer, happier relationship based on the fact that you're not judging you're not judging your partner for their faults. You're judging yourself on your faults, and you're dating yourself. So imagine you're at a table at dinner and your ideal self is above you, looking down at you while you're dating your partner in like realistic time or whatever. And then you're always trying to be that better version of yourself, because every day is a new day to be better than the day before, right? So that's why this idea I'm bringing to the podcast is because it kind of gets me thinking about my habits, about my honesty, about my own self-worth, about my own self-interest, about how I want to be today and how I want to be the best version for my partner to love. And that's basically how I learned about this. I'm going to run it through ChatGPT and get their opinion, and then we'll get Isabel's opinion. And we'll just have a conversation like always and see how it goes, and hopefully it provides good content for all you guys watching. So this is how I wrote it for chat, because it's very a complex idea. Chat needs a little extra push for it. I wrote it like this. You tell me what you think of this idea for a romantic relationship. When you are in a relationship, you are actually dating your ideal self. So there are 4 people in the relationship. You each are dating your ideal self, and the relationship should be a lasting one because of your both improving for yourselves. Now, chat came up with 5 different things that they want to talk about. The 5 things they talk about how you're dating your ideal self is 1, personal growth and improvement. The idea that individuals are continually evolving and striving to become their best selves is a positive, empowering notion. 2, shared values and goals. For this concept to work effectively, dating your ideal self, it's essential that both partners share similar values, goals, and aspirations of personal development. By aligning those fundamental aspects of the relationship can serve a supportive and nurturing environment. 3, the mutual respect and understanding. Each partner's commitment to dating their ideal self implies a level of self-awareness, self-respect, and self-love. In a healthy and fulfilling relationship, this should, but not always, translate into mutual respect, understanding, and acceptance of each other's strengths and weaknesses. 4, continuous communication reflection. Open and honest communication is key to any relationship, especially one where personal growth is a central focus. And that actually is probably why I'm attracted to this idea that my friend told me, is because I'm always trying to do better, bring better content for you guys, trying to improve myself with fitness and health. So it's already been part of my central focus, but now it's more into the verbal and cognitive kind of focus. And hopefully my wife is paying attention to some of these videos or can feel that energy. And I think she was attracted to that energy when I first met her. If I had her here, I would probably ask her. So that's why I really like it. 5, realistic expectations of flexibility. Now, this is where chat goes like, you got to be realistic though. While striving to embody one's ideal self is a noble pursuit, it is important for both partners to maintain realistic expectations. Be flexible with their approach to personal growth, because perfection is unattainable, and setbacks or challenges are inevitable along the journey. Like if you're a fit person, you might hurt your leg, and then you're going to maybe gain weight while you're recovering. So you're not perfect anymore.
Pregnancy.
Or pregnancy. The womanly setback. Overall, ChatGPT says the idea of dating oneself in a relationship has the potential to foster personal growth and mutual support and lasting fulfillment. However, it requires both partners to be committed to self-awareness, communication, and continuous improvement. Would you like to take over and share what you think about how this is a crazy idea to think about you're dating yourself? I remember someone saying that before. Like it was like, really dating yourself? Like you don't think about that going into a dating situation. You're trying to date the partner.
Well, yeah.
Get to know their qualities.
You want your partner to always be better, but to think of it as dating yourself, I don't agree with, because sometimes opposites attract. Sometimes the person that you end up with is something that's nothing like you, but it works. So.
True.
Yeah.
I'm confused by the how self-awareness and is even considered in the opposite attract. Are you saying that the ideal self is kind of like gets in the way of loving someone that's so opposite?
Well, why can't you just better yourself but still love the other person for them being who they are instead of dating your ideal self? Because not everybody wants to date somebody that's exactly like them.
Oh, I see where you're going. I didn't see it that way. If you're dating yourself, you're not really giving the other person room to be in your awareness, is what you're saying, right?
Basically.
Because you're like blocking them. You're like, so if you're like a gym person, your wife is not, you're not spending time with your wife at the gym and because they're not like you.
Yeah.
So then you're taking time away from your wife when you could find a mutual activity that you could do.
Or it's just a mutual understanding that your wife isn't into fitness and you are.
Correct. And then sometimes people have a negative connotation on their partner because they don't want to do what they like to do.
Some. Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I can't believe you won't go to the gym with me one time a month. Like that kind of attitude.
Yes, some do.
Or the other one is like, oh my God, you're getting too hot. Why are you going to the gym all the time? You need to get fattened up a little bit. I mean, some women, my friend at work, also another friend of mine at work, was telling me that he lost like 20 pounds in the last 2 weeks because he changed his diet completely. Eat perfectly clean for the last 2 weeks. Stop smoking weed. No more beer. Like cut everything out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a good weight loss in the first 2 weeks. But his girl is already trying to feed him double portions and is just like, oh my God, you're getting too thin. I need you to fatten up. Like she's even saying it in real word time.
Mm-hmm.
So she's gained a little bit of like, oh my God, I might lose him kind of feelings. That's what he was feeling. Like he was.
Everybody has insecurities though.
Yeah, and we just gotta support each other in that. Is what you're saying.
Well,
that
yeah.
If you're dating your ideal self, you might overstep and not support your opposite.
Well, I mean, I feel like in any relationship, that's the point. You're supposed to support your opposite, but also make sure that you make time for yourself too, so you don't lose yourself.
And that's one of the things I've noticed in watching other people come in and out of relationships with their partners.
Mm-hmm.
Since I'm always so self-aware, I'm like the self-aware guy. I see that they're missing that. And I really want to remind them, be a reminder through this podcast, through just talking to them in real life. Like, hey, who are you? Like when I meet someone new and I feel this vibe, like, or they bring up something real deep and like saying that they kind of broke up and they don't know what they want to do. Mm-hmm. I even had a girl ask me, how do you fall out of love with someone? Mm-hmm. I basically just told her what I thought at the moment was basically you just got to give it your all before falling out of love, or like try to have those final conversations with your partner, especially when you have kids. So like I was trying to get her to realize that you gotta set up some communication before you completely like cut someone off, because you're gonna have kids for the rest of your life with them.
Well, yeah.
So that gets it more complicated when you're trying to follow love. Now, when you're single and falling out of love, it's still hard, but you have less stuff to figure out. But it was interesting to hear her feel so comfortable right away, and that got me energized to be like available to her. And that's why I created this podcast. I want to be available to people in a coaching sense, or even just a reminder here on the podcast. Maybe one of the podcasts got their attention for whatever reason, the algorithm or whatever, and they're like, oh, hey, that makes sense. I should try to figure out how to develop that idea in my own life, because my ideas are just like from one source, and now plus one is two. But we all have our own opinion of all different ideas. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just trying to create a platform where they can get re-energized, refocused, and redefine their values. What I like is that these ideas that I keep finding to talk about are going back to my other videos. They're like talking about communication and reflection. They're talking about like mutual respect and understanding. Today was definitely more about self-awareness and reaching well, actually, no. Even my first video, intimacy, I wanted to let everyone know that before you could love someone else, you got to define and create your own boundaries and values.
Well, that's what I was going to say, too, because you're talking about dating your ideal self, but you should really make sure that you are secure with yourself and love yourself and date yourself before you try to get into a relationship.
What activities would you do to date yourself?
I don't know. I like to go get my nails done. So just things that make me happy. I like to go on hikes. Little things.
I think it would be hard for some people to date themselves, especially if they're in long relationships. Or if they've never even had a relationship. I think those both are kind of like exploratory situations for someone. For me, I've always been relationship to relationship to relationship. And it just feels like I never had a chance to be by myself except for rebounding.
Wow. So funny you say that.
Because like I remember before I met my previous girlfriend, I had a year and a half, and I just dated and just one nights or just like trying to get girls' attention. And sometimes I feel romantically autistic because I feel like I share too much and too openly, and I don't put the face on. I don't play the part of the guapo or whatever. I just don't do that. I remember at parties when I was younger too, I would feel not nervous or anxious to talk to anyone. I just felt like I couldn't connect to anyone because I was thinking about something else. I wasn't thinking about drinking. I wasn't thinking about like hanging out, talking about fake stuff. Mm-hmm. When you're like 19 and 21, those kind of parties, when you're right out of high school and you're like, most kids or young adults are just trying to drink and like see where things go and maybe hook up. But me, I was just like, this feels like a waste of time. I was second guessing it the whole way. So I'm basically a late bloomer. So that's what I'm basically trying to share and give a picture for everyone. But I appreciate my growth over time on being able to keep my self-awareness strong. Mm-hmm. I think I've always been good at that, being myself. Even though, like I said, I was romantically autistic in a way because I was always bumping heads with ideal, or whatever someone else thought of me. Mm-hmm. What I was supposed to be for them or something. And I know at least one of those relationships didn't work out for that reason. She even said it when she broke up with me. I've already probably said it before. But what I do appreciate is finding my current relationship. For some reason it works. I don't know why. And I think me and her, my wife, have this unique story but I don't even know how to express it because I don't know why it works. Like sometimes when you're in a relationship, you don't even know why it's working.
Yeah.
And then
sure.
You don't know. And then I try to explain it to people and I don't know, except for what I do know and what I see is that we both just choose each other. And that's why I like this quote. happiness is a choice, because I guess I found it in choosing my partner. I mean, what I'm going to get into in the next month or so is the crazy story about how your sister gave me the unicorn pass or dragon pass. But that's the whole other story. That's just crazy, because I still haven't figured that one out either. But like,
Not for everyone.
it's not. But it's kind of ironic that someone like me, Superman honest, completely like why I say romantically autistic. I really feel like I don't know what I'm doing, like romantically. Like I just know that I like being kind and encouraging to my partner, and do my best to listen to what she needs, and then try to meet those expectations best I can. I think we all strive for that. But I guess we would have to ask her, whatever I'm doing right, I'm doing right. And then whatever she's doing right she's doing right. But I like how ChatGPT does remind us about the positive things when we put in some questions for them. And I appreciate your human side of it as well, because it does bring a different wordplay, or like understanding that the ideal self can get in the way.
I think so. There's a lot of people that will never be able to meet their ideal self either, just because they struggle with so much.
I think a lot of people feel overwhelmed by that thought too. They don't move toward the ideal because they feel like they will never get there.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's where I have a blinder. I'm not worried about the win, and why I bring a positive energy to the concept of being ideal. Like, I think I just really want to just be better than yesterday, which is better than trying to say I'm going to be my ideal self today, because I don't know if I'm going to be the perfect person today.
Well, nobody's perfect.
And ironically, that's what ChatGPT said too at the end when we were going over it earlier, about perfection is unattainable and setbacks and challenges are inevitable. So I hope you all found something to just have you start thinking about your relationship, to set new boundaries, expectations for yourself and your partner, to find that happy point or that daily comfort. I think relationships are comforting, for me at least. That's what I think, why I always stayed in a relationship. It just felt comforting to have something to work on. I think that's why I was a relationship type person.
I mean, maybe. But what if you just never took time to actually focus on yourself and help yourself grow before you got into a relationship?
That's true too. But now I'm 15 years in a relationship, so I don't have any way to go back to that beginning part. And maybe that's why I'm doing this podcast, to give myself some self-growth. And it's weird because I'm always talking about self-growth and stuff, trying to help other people to get on their journey. I think that's where my honesty comes through, is that I'm still on my journey as well, which I hope you embrace as through my humanity that we share through this camera on this platform, and through my guests. I hope you guys are okay with me being not perfect as well. But I just have this go-getter drive to just keep talking positively about what I like to talk about. I like talking about dating, relationships, sex, fitness. I think that's me. Well, that is me. That's the self-aware. That's the irony part. I'm basically playing out what I've always wanted to do for myself. But I couldn't get there unless I had my wife. That was the weird part too. I remember in the 15 years ago when I met your sister, I didn't feel safe. Oh, that's what she did. Your sister made me feel safe because I could be myself and not be judged. I think that was her superpower, and that got me.
I get that, but shouldn't you feel safe and secure in who you are before you step into a relationship?
I think that's what we're like, maybe society or the psychologists or the teachers above us, like, or if we had smart family, they would probably tell us that. My family never told me any of the dating stuff. So I was 19, 18, and I just like stumbled for like 11 years before I met your sister. So like I had, wow, I'm already past my 11 years dating as an adult with your sister. That's crazy. Well, yeah, I never dated when I was a kid, so that was another like perk about me. I never dated as a kid. You can't count preschool, so that's not gonna work. But what are you trying to get me to realize by saying that? Are you just reminding me that?
Well, I'm not reminding you. I'm just saying that it shouldn't take another person to make you feel safe and secure. You should feel safe and secure already.
But what if we're not?
I mean, it's okay if you find someone that you feel safe and secure with. I mean, at one point I did too. So, and I definitely wasn't safe and secure with myself. So,
That sounds like a message for everyone that's between relationships or by themselves right now, and a reminder that it's okay to be by yourself.
yes, for sure.
Because I think society does kind of push us, and family pushes us to be in relationships.
You don't have to be in a relationship to be
No, but
happy.
no, I true. But a lot of like out external forces push you. I know another girl. She's 20. When she got it, well, at her senior year, she met a classmate, and then the family met him, and they were dating, prom, and all that probably. But after high school, they kind of like, hey, be with him. He's having a hard time. Be with him. They actually did that. Like her family told her to be with someone that was not someone she wanted, but thought she would be a good fit. Almost like an arranged.
It's not healthy.
Well, it wasn't. They ended up breaking up anyway.
Hmm.
But like those are reminders in my journey and like what talking to other people and seeing it, and that's why I bring it to here. So if anyone else is feeling that way, anyone pressuring you, take a breath. Decide what you want for yourself, right? If you're an adult, you should be able to decide your own relationship.
Well, yeah, I know tons of people that are happy on their own. My grandma always told me that you need to learn how to be alone, which I think is a good lesson because you're not always going to have somebody.
Yeah.
So,
And then so we're supposed to appreciate when we do have someone?
I mean, well, yeah, I would imagine if you like them.
Well, thank you for joining us. This has been another episode of Mad Pod, Morning After Delight podcast. Remember, if you're looking for a way to connect with your partner, I do have a cookbook for you guys to buy digitally straight from me. Just DM me, leave a comment with your email, and I'll send you an order form over. It's only $9.99 for 12 recipes to cook for your partner after sex. So you could connect on a soulful level, like soul food. Have a great day. Take care, guys.